If you strip away the rockets, they're operating from the same worldview as a 1600s East India Company governor. In the colonial era, wealthy backers funded expeditions to open up new territories for trade. In return, they were handed monopolies. They got land grants and military support from the state. Today's billionaires are still trying to fund new frontiers for exploration. They want to open up space, see if there's any diamonds they can mine, send you to the moon. Orbital real estate, asteroid mining rights. People like Jeff Bezos see themselves as neutral entrepreneurs in an open marketplace. But exactly like their colonial forebears, they only operate because the state keeps gifting them contracts, subsidies, regulatory exemptions. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Blue Origin, all of their revenue streams are largely state-backed. The market doesn't exist until they lobby for it. There's no natural demand coming from the free market for space reactors. The only potential customer is the government. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, X, Blue Origin, Northrop Grumman, they only exist because of state contracting. Without that flow of taxpayer money, their companies would collapse. The free market branding that these guys sell to you is completely hollow. A huge slice of the private sector in the United States is essentially a permanent government contractor class. They only exist, their wealth only exists because the public budgets guarantee their survival. 75% of Lockheed Martin's 2024 total sales came from the US government, and the remainder is still the government via FMS contracting, direct government sales. Their commercial viability is negligible. A company that gets 100% of its revenue guaranteed from non-competitive government contracts shouldn't even be allowed to trade on the free market. They are not playing in the same arena as a private firm that must win over customers. They shape their own cash flow. Historically, entities that relied on British state charters were treated as extensions of the state. They had different charter obligations. These contractor giants today have the same dependence as the East India Company did, but now they've no legal oversight. The contradiction now is because these companies like Lockheed Martin have their income guaranteed by state contracts, they're seen as low risk by institutional investors. They have stable, predictable cash flows from the government. That's not seen as an inherent contradiction. That's seen by portfolio managers as certainty. And so private and public money, pension funds, teachers' pensions, your pension is often heavily invested in these companies. And then cutting Pentagon budgets becomes politically harder because it affects retirees. This is the human cost underneath the spreadsheet. Companies have no incentive to innovate towards peace. The US has essentially taken public functions, whether there's a public need for defense or space exploration, but even in energy and infrastructure and health and everywhere, education. And instead of running them like what they are, which is state-owned, accountable entities, they've been franchised out like they're McDonald's or the Pentagon. Layers and layers and layers of middlemen, executives and boards and CEOs and chairmen and subcontractors. They all take a cut before anything ever gets built. And they all put a markup on everything and charge it to the taxpayer. And they lobby aggressively, give the politicians lots of money in their pockets to keep this arrangement going. And they spend a lot of money on propaganda to keep you distracted. You'll see the perfectly polished Jeff Bezos spacesuit images now, while the Pentagon bleeds petrol to make this happen. And there are perverse incentives. We are incentivized financially in war. pointless mega projects and boondoggles like lunar fission. Anything to stop nationalisation or public provision. This is happening because the contracts, who wants to make it? Jeff Bezos, Lockheed Martin, Boeing. Your pension gets invested and then Lockheed Martin takes that money and spends billions developing weapons that you'll never see in a closed loop of waste and human blood. When they say free market, they're talking about regulation. The original founding fathers didn't want to pay British tax. These guys want to erode labour standards until we're back at slavery. But what free market liberalism actually is the area where they demand the most interference on who gets a government contract, on laws and regulation around monopoly and monopolistic practices. That's not free. That's just free for them. What people most miss about American capitalism is that it's a once in a generation opportunity to become a billionaire. Whoever procures the monopoly procures the wealth. Everybody else gets fucked. And they're trying to open a new market so somebody can get rich off space junk. But at this stage, all you're going to do is blow us up.